The warning ignored the massive docking bay of Nexus Prime, buzzed with activity as ships from across the galaxy arrived for the monthly Galactic Trade Council meeting. The neutral station floated in the void between star systems, serving as a meeting ground for dozens of alien species. Representatives from the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy gathered here to discuss trade agreements, territorial disputes, and diplomatic matters. Ambassador Thera Vex of the Soltarian Republic stood at the observation deck, her silver scales catching the light from the nearby star. At over 400 years old, she had witnessed the rise and fall of numerous galactic powers. Her species valued wisdom and patience, traits that had served them well in their role as mediators and advisors to younger civilizations. Through the transparent aluminum viewport, she watched as the massive Bruthan dreadnought Iron Fist docked at the station. The ship was a fortress of dark metal and plasma weaponry, designed to strike fear into anyone who saw it. The Bruthan Empire had been expanding aggressively for the past 50 years, conquering system after system with ruthless efficiency. General Krozak Mort emerged from the dreadnought's landing bay, his massive frame clad in ceremonial battle armor. The Bruthan leader stood nearly 8 feet tall, with tough gray skin and 4 powerful arms that could crush steel. His red eyes scanned the docking bay as if searching for enemies, even in this neutral territory. Behind him marched a squad of Bruthan warriors, their weapons clearly visible despite the station's peace protocols. Thyra sighed deeply. She had requested this meeting specifically to address the growing tensions between the Bruthan Empire and the younger species in the Outer Rim. The Bruthans had been eyeing several colonies belonging to newer galactic civilizations, including the humans. She feared that their aggressive expansion would lead to a conflict that could destabilize the entire region. The council chamber was a vast circular room with floating platforms for each species delegation. The Soltarians occupied the platform closest to the center, befitting their status as the meeting's organizers. The Bruthan delegation took their position on the opposite side, their heavy weapons creating an obvious display of military might. Captain Sarah Chun of the Human Colonial Defense Force sat with the small human delegation on a platform near the chamber's edge. Humanity was still relatively new to galactic politics, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 2 centuries ago. Their territory consisted of about 30 star systems, mostly agricultural and mining colonies that supplied resources to the more established civilizations. Sean was a veteran of several small conflicts with pirates and raiders, but she had never faced a threat like the Bruthan Empire. The humans had decent technology and brave soldiers, but their military was designed for defense, not conquest. Most other species viewed them as a minor power, useful for trade, but not particularly influential in galactic affairs. Thyra activated the chamber's translation system and began the meeting. Honored delegates, we gather today to address the growing tensions in the Outer Rim. Recent Bruthan military exercises near civilian colonies have caused concern among several species. General Mort's laugh echoed through the chamber. Exercises? We are preparing for legitimate expansion into unclaimed territory. The Outer Rim systems are rich in resources and poorly defended. It is natural that a strong civilization would move to secure these assets. General Mort, Thyra replied calmly, many of these systems contain established colonies. The mining world of Haven's Rest, for example, has been occupied by human settlers for over 50 years. 30,000 people call that world home. The Bruthan general waved one of his massive hands dismissively. 30,000 farmers and miners. They produce nothing of military value. If they cannot defend their territory, they do not deserve to keep it. Captain Chun stood up, her voice steady despite the obvious threat. General, those 30,000 people include families, children, and elderly settlers who have never harmed anyone. They are protected under the Galactic Civilian Protection Accords. Mort's red eyes fixed on the human captain. Accords are just words on paper, human. In the real galaxy, strength determines who survives and who disappears. Thyra felt a chill run down her spine. She had seen this pattern before, the arrogance of a military power that believed conquest was their right. But she also knew something that General Mort did not understand. She had studied the humans extensively, reading their history and observing their behavior during their brief time in galactic politics. General Mort, she said, her voice carrying the weight of her centuries of experience, I must warn you against attacking human settlements. You do not understand what you would be unleashing. The chamber fell silent. Even the constant hum of the translation devices seemed to quiet as delegates leaned forward to hear her words. The humans may seem like a minor power, Thyra continued, but they possess a quality that makes them uniquely dangerous. Most species fight for territory, resources, or power. They engage in warfare until victory or defeat becomes clear. Then they negotiate terms and move on. Humans are different. General Mort's expression showed amusement rather than concern. Different how, old one? They bleed. They die. They fear death just like any other species. What makes them special? Thyra's ancient eyes met his gaze directly. When humans believe justice is on their side, they do not stop. They do not negotiate. They do not forgive. They will hunt their enemies across the galaxy until every last one is found and punished. The chamber erupted in murmurs and whispers. Several delegates from smaller species looked nervous, while the representatives from major military powers seemed skeptical. Hunt across the galaxy? Mort's voice was filled with mockery. Ambassador, your age may be affecting your judgment. No species has the resources or determination for such actions. The humans do, Thyra replied firmly. They have a saying, we will find you, we will hunt you, and we will never stop. When someone kills their people, especially their innocent civilians, they become something else entirely. They become hunters, and they will follow you to the two ends of the universe. Captain Shun remained standing, her expression unreadable. She neither confirmed nor denied the ambassador's words, but several delegates noticed that she didn't seem surprised by them either. Even if this were true, called out Delegate Zorax from the hegemony worlds, how could they threaten an empire? Like the Bruthans? General Mort's fleet numbers over 300 ships. Their weapons are among the most advanced in the galaxy. Thyra turned to face the hegemony delegate. Because they do not fight to conquer. They fight to win. When you fight to conquer, you must hold territory, protect supply lines, and govern populations. When you fight to win, you only need to destroy your enemy. General Mort stood up, his massive frame casting a shadow across the chamber floor. Enough of this superstitious nonsense. The Bruthan Empire has conquered 17 star systems in the past decade. We have defeated the Crystalline Collective, crushed the Void Runners, and absorbed the merchant guilds. What could possibly make us fear a handful of human farmers? Their determination, Thyra said simply. General, I have studied human history. When their civilians are murdered, when their children are killed, they do not simply seek military victory, they seek justice. And they will pursue that justice no matter how long it takes or how far they must travel. The general's red eyes blazed with anger. You speak of fairy tales, Ambassador. The Bruthan Empire is reality. Our plasma cannons can level mountains. Our shields can stop any weapon. Our soldiers are trained from birth to conquer and destroy. And yet, Thyra said quietly, if you attack those human settlers, you will learn that none of that will save you. Captain Shun finally spoke, her voice calm and professional. General Mort, I offer you the same warning that Ambassador Vex has given. The colony of Haven's Rest is under the protection of the Human Colonial Defense Force. Any attack on our civilians will be considered an act of war." Mort laughed again, but this time there was less humor in it. "Are you threatening me, human? Your entire fleet could not stand against a single Bruthan battle group." "I am not threatening you," Chun replied. "I am informing you. Attack our people, and you will face the consequences." The meeting continued for another hour, with various delegates attempting to mediate between the two sides. Trade agreements were discussed, territorial boundaries were debated, and diplomatic protocols were reviewed. But everyone in the chamber could feel the tension building toward something terrible. Finally, General Mort stood to leave. "The Bruthan Empire has made its decision. We will expand into the Outer Rim as planned. If any species wishes to challenge US, they are welcome to try." As the Bruthan delegation marched out of the chamber, Thyra called out one final warning. "General, when this war begins, remember my words. The humans will not let you escape." 3 days later, the Bruthan fleet moved toward the Outer Rim. General Mort commanded the assault personally, leading 15 dreadnoughts and 40 support vessels toward the human mining colony of Haven's Rest. The planet had minimal defenses. Just a few patrol ships and a small garrison of colonial marines. The attack began at dawn, local time. Plasma beams rained down from orbit, destroying the colony's communication arrays and defensive installations within minutes. Bruthan troops landed in armored transports, moving through the settlement with systematic efficiency. The colonists tried to evacuate, but there was nowhere to run. Haven's Rest was a mining world with harsh terrain and poisonous atmosphere outside the settlement domes. Families huddled in shelters, while the sound of explosions echoed through the tunnels. Commander Jake Morrison of the human patrol vessel Vigilant managed to send one final transmission before his ship was destroyed. His voice was filled with static and the sound of weapons fire in the background. "This is Haven's Rest Colony calling any human ship. We are under attack by Bruthan forces. They are targeting civilians. They are killing families. Children are dying. If anyone receives this message, tell Earth what happened here. Tell them we fought to the end." The transmission cut off as the Vigilant exploded in a ball of plasma fire. General Mort surveyed the destruction from his command ship's bridge. The operation had been perfect. The humans had been eliminated with minimal Bruthan casualties. The planet's resources were now available for exploitation, and the human government would understand the price of defying the Bruthan Empire. He had no idea that Captain Chun had been right. The humans had indeed been recording everything, and the message from Haven's Rest was already racing across human space toward Earth. Within hours, every human military commander in the galaxy would know what had happened to the innocent settlers. Of Haven's Rest, the general had achieved his victory. But as Ambassador Thera had warned, he had also signed his own death warrant. The humans were coming, and they would not let him escape. Asterisk the Hunt Begins Admiral Marcus Steele stood in the war room of Luna Base, staring at the holographic display, showing the remains of Haven's Rest Colony. The images were horrific. Melted buildings, burned fields, and the scattered remains of what had once been a thriving community. 30,000 innocent people had been murdered in cold blood by General Mort's forces. Steele had been a soldier for 35 years, serving in conflicts across human space. He had seen combat on a dozen worlds and faced every kind of enemy imaginable. But the images from Haven's Rest made his blood run cold. This wasn't warfare. This was genocide. "Admiral," said Dr. Elena Vasquez, the fleet's chief strategist, "we've completed our analysis of the attack. The Bruthans showed no mercy. They targeted schools, hospitals, and civilian shelters. They executed families who tried to surrender." Steele's jaw tightened. "How many confirmed casualties?" "All of them, sir. No survivors." The Bruthans made sure of that. The Admiral turned to face the assembled officers in the war room. These were the best military minds humanity had produced, veterans of countless battles and campaigns. But he could see the same cold fury in their eyes that burned in his own heart. "Gentlemen and ladies," Steele said, his voice carrying the authority of absolute command, "we are no longer fighting a defensive war. As of this moment, we are implementing Operation Eternal Hunt." The room fell silent. Every officer knew what that meant. Operation Eternal Hunt was humanity's most classified military protocol, reserved for only the most extreme circumstances. It had never been used before, but every human commander had trained for it. "Sir," asked Captain Zara Bolt, the fleet's pursuit specialist, "are we talking about limited retaliation or full implementation?" Steele's expression was grim. "Full implementation. We hunt every Bruthan ship, every base, every outpost. We find every officer who participated in the Haven's Rest massacre. And we make sure the galaxy understands what happens when you murder human civilians." Dr. Vasquez activated the tactical display, showing Bruthan positions across the galaxy. The Bruthan Empire controls 47 star systems. Their fleet consists of over 300 ships. Their technology is roughly equivalent to ours, but they have superior numbers and firepower. "Numbers don't matter," Steele replied. "We're not fighting to conquer their territory. We're hunting murderers. Captain Bolt, what's the status of our pursuit fleet?" Captain Bolt was a small woman with intense green eyes and a reputation for never losing a target. She had spent her career tracking pirates and smugglers across the galaxy, developing techniques that made her the most feared hunter in human space. "Sir, we can have 24 ships ready for immediate deployment. Each vessel is equipped with our latest tracking technology and crewed by specialists in long-range pursuit. We also have access to our intelligence network throughout the galaxy." Steele nodded. "Good, but we're not going to fight them the way they expect. Dr. Vasquez, explain the strategy." The strategist activated a new display showing Bruthan supply lines and communication networks. The Bruthan Empire is built on conquest and expansion. They rely on constant supply shipments to maintain their far-flung territories. Their communication system connects all their worlds through a series of relay stations. "We're going to cut them off," Steele said. "Not their military bases, their supply lines, their communication networks, their fuel depots. We're going to isolate every Bruthan ship and base until they're struggling to survive." "Sir?" asked Commander Torres, the fleet's logistics officer. "That's a massive undertaking." "The Bruthan supply network spans half the galaxy." "Then we'll span half the galaxy too," Steele replied. "We have something the Bruthans don't understand. We're not fighting for territory or resources. We're fighting for justice. And we'll keep fighting until every last one of them pays for what they did to those innocent people." The first phase of Operation Eternal Hunt began within 72 hours. Captain Bolt led a squadron of 6 ships to the Chrono system, where the Bruthans maintained a major fuel depot. The facility was lightly defended, since it was deep inside Bruthan territory and considered safe from attack. Bolt's ships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their weapons already charged and targeting systems locked onto the depot. The Bruthan guards barely had time to sound an alarm before human plasma beams turned their fuel reserves into a spectacular explosion. "Target destroyed," reported Lieutenant Commander Hayes from the bridge of the Retribution. "No survivors." "Good," Bolt replied. "Next target is the communication relay in the Vita system. We jump in 15 minutes." The pattern continued across Bruthan space. Human ships appeared without warning, destroyed their targets, and vanished back into hyperspace. Supply depots, communication relays, fuel stations, and maintenance facilities were eliminated with surgical precision. General Mort received the first reports while reviewing his conquest of Haven's Rest. His red eyes blazed with fury as he read the intelligence summaries. "How many facilities have we lost?" 37 in the past week, sir," reported his aide. "All of them support installations. The humans are avoiding our military bases entirely." "Cowards," Mort snarled. "They attack defenseless supply stations, but avoid real combat. We'll force them to face us directly." But the general was beginning to understand that the humans were fighting a different kind of war. They weren't trying to conquer territory or destroy his fleet. They were systematically dismantling the infrastructure that kept his empire functioning. Doctor Vasquez worked around the clock in her laboratory aboard the fleet flagship Nemesis, analyzing captured Bruthan technology. Her team had recovered wreckage from the destroyed supply stations, and what they found changed everything. "Admiral Steele," she called over the communication system. "You need to see this immediately." Steele appeared on her screen, his face drawn. With exhaustion, the operation was taking its toll on everyone, but the Admiral refused to rest while Bruthan ships remained free. "What did you find, Doctor?" Vasquez held up a crystalline component that pulsed with blue energy. "The Bruthan ships use these quantum resonance cores in their hyperspace drives. It's what allows them to travel faster than most other species." "How does that help us?" "These cores are manufactured in only 2 locations. One is on the Bruthan homeworld, which is heavily defended. The other is on a mining station in the Outer Rim. If we can destroy that station, we can cripple their ability to maintain their fleet." Steele leaned forward. "How long before their existing ships lose hyperdrive capability?" "Without replacement cores, about 2 weeks. Their ships will be trapped in whatever system they're currently in." Within hours, human ships were racing toward the mining station. The Bruthans had defended it with a small fleet, but they weren't prepared for the fury of human assault. Captain Bolt led the attack personally, her ships striking with devastating precision. The mining station exploded in a cascade of blue energy, taking the Bruthan defenders with it. Across the galaxy, Bruthan ships began reporting hyperdrive failures. The mighty empire that had conquered 17 star systems was suddenly trapped in place. General, Mort watched his empire crumble from the bridge of his flagship. Reports poured in from across Bruthan space. Ships were stranded, supplies were running low, and communications were breaking down. The humans had achieved something no other enemy had ever managed. They had paralyzed the Bruthan Empire without fighting a single major battle. "Sir," said his communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from a human ship. They're requesting to speak with you." Mort nodded grimly. "Put it through." Admiral Steele's face appeared on the screen, his expression cold and determined. "General Mort, this is Admiral Steele of the Human Colonial Defense Force. I have a message for you." "What do you want, human?" "I want you to understand what you've done. You murdered 30,000 innocent people. You killed children, families, and elderly settlers who had never hurt anyone. You thought you could do this without consequences." Mort's red eyes blazed with defiance. "It was a military action. The colony was in our expansion zone." "It was genocide," Steele replied. "And now you're going to pay for it. Every Bruthan ship, every base, every outpost. We're going to hunt you down one by one. There's nowhere in the galaxy you can hide from us." "You cannot sustain this effort forever," Mort protested. "Your fleet is small. Your resources are limited." Steele's smile was cold as space itself. "General, you still don't understand. We're not fighting for territory or resources. We're fighting for justice. And we'll keep fighting until every last one of you pays for what you did to those innocent people." The transmission ended. Mort stared at the blank screen, beginning to understand what Ambassador Thera had tried to warn him about. The humans weren't fighting like other species. They weren't trying to conquer or expand. They were hunting murderers, and they would not stop until their prey was caught. Over the following weeks, the hunt intensified. Human ships appeared throughout Bruthan space, tracking down individual vessels and bases. The Bruthans tried to negotiate, offering territory and resources in exchange for peace. But the humans had only one demand: surrender every officer who had participated in the Haven's Rest massacre. Captain Bolt led the pursuit of General Mort's personal fleet. Using advanced tracking technology, she followed the Bruthan ships through 3 star systems, always staying just out of weapons range. The general's ships were running low on fuel and supplies, their crews growing desperate. "Sir," reported the Bruthan navigation officer, "the humans are still following us. They've been tracking us for 6 days straight." Mort slammed his fist on the command console. "How are they finding us?" "We're using stealth technology and avoiding all known hyperspace routes." Unknown to the Bruthans, Dr. Vasquez had developed a new tracking system based on quantum signatures. Every ship left a unique trail in hyperspace, and human sensors could follow it like a bloodhound following a scent. There was nowhere the Bruthan ships could hide. "General," said his aide, "perhaps we should consider surrender. The humans might show mercy." Mort's laugh was bitter. "Mercy? They've been hunting us across the galaxy for weeks. They've destroyed half our empire. There will be no mercy." The general was right. The humans had no intention of showing mercy to the murderers of Haven's Rest. They would hunt every Bruthan ship until justice was served, no matter how long it took or how far they had to travel. Ambassador Thera received reports of the ongoing hunt from her contacts throughout the galaxy. The old Soltarian had watched the conflict with growing fascination and horror. The humans were demonstrating something she had never seen before in her 4 centuries of life. They were waging war not for conquest or resources, but for pure justice. "I warned him," she said to her aide. "I warned him what would happen if he attacked their civilians, but he wouldn't listen." The aide looked at the latest intelligence reports. The humans have destroyed over 200 Bruthan installations. Their fleet is scattered and running. How much longer can this continue? Thera's ancient eyes held a mixture of sadness and admiration. "Until every last Bruthan who participated in that massacre is captured or dead, the humans meant what they said. They will hunt them to the ends of the universe." General Mort made his final stand in the ruins of an abandoned mining station. His ship was damaged, his crew was exhausted, and his fuel was nearly gone. But he still had weapons, and he was determined to take some humans with him when he died. Captain Bolt's ship Retribution emerged from hyperspace, its weapons trained on the Bruthan vessel. The hunt was finally over. There was nowhere left to run. "General Mort," Bolt's voice echoed through the empty space, "you are surrounded. Surrender now, and you will receive a fair trial for your crimes." Mort's reply was a plasma beam that struck the human ship's shields. The battle was brief but fierce. The Bruthan vessel, running on emergency power, was no match for the human hunters. Within minutes, it was disabled and drifting in space. "Target disabled," reported Lieutenant Commander Hayes. "Shall we take prisoners?" "Yes," Bolt replied. "General, Mort and his officers will stand trial for the murder of 30,000 innocent people." As the human ships closed in, Mort finally understood what Ambassador Thera had tried to warn him about. The humans didn't fight for conquest or territory. They fought for justice, and they would never stop hunting those who harmed innocent life. The Bruthan Empire was finished. Their fleet was scattered, their supplies exhausted, and their leaders captured. But most importantly, the galaxy had learned the lesson. The humans were not a species to be underestimated. They were protectors of innocent life, and they would hunt anyone who threatened it to the ends of the universe. General Mort had ignored the warning. Now he would pay the price for his arrogance. The humans had kept their promise. They had hunted him across the galaxy, and he had not escaped. Asterisk.